Um, okay, so yes, welcome back. As Patrick mentioned at the end of last time, we should go around and introduce ourselves and I guess what our interest is in the mathlib4 and what we're sort of thinking about. I guess I'll call people. I don't know whether everyone sees things in the same order, but John Euster.
Let's try that again. I'm on a super track internet connection today, so let's try. Yeah, I'm John. I'm in Düsseldorf, Germany at the moment. Yeah, and we're working on teaching Lean with linear algebra and analysis next year or so. So that's why we're also like interested in like getting the port to that stage at some point, because it would be nice to do that in Lean 4. I think Patrick already had contact with like his Lean game, which we are like looking at and like taking inspiration from. Yeah.
Excellent. Flores?
Hi, I'm Flores. I'm one of the maintainers, and I just finished the Sphere version project with Patrick and Oliver. And so now I have more time to spend on porting.
Woohoo! Jared? You're muted, Jared.
Thanks, sorry. I'm Jaira. I'm in the States. I've been involved with mathlib for about a year. And yeah, I'm just excited to get the port going for Lean 4. That's about it.
Matthew? We can't hear you, Matthew.
Looks like his internet connection is suboptimal.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. I guess we'll just move on. Okay. David?
Which David?
Yes, you.
Hi, I'm David. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA, very close to Mario. And my main interest is in making progress on the IMO Grand Challenge, and I want to do it in Lean 4. So let's get mathlib ported.
Moritz?
Hey.
Moritz? We're not hearing anything? I think we'll skip Moritz as well for now. Evgeny?
Hi, my name is Evgeny. I'm doing my last year of the bachelor this year, and prior to that I worked as a web developer, and I'm planning to work on user widgets in Lean, and right now I'm porting tactics to get familiar with Lean.
Excellent. And Moritz, you managed to fix your...
Sorry?
Yes. Moritz, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my tab just crashed when I unmuted myself. I'm Moritz. I'm in Melbourne, and yeah, I've also been like involved in mathlib for about a year now, and I'm highly interested in like all this analysis stuff, and since Lean 4 is supposed to be good for also doing a calculation and stuff. I'm very excited for mathlib4.
Excellent. Andrea?
Hi, I'm Andrew. I'm an undergrad at Taiwan, and my main focus is the algebraic geometric side of things. But I hope that Lean4 can give a better performance boost, so I'm more than happy to help with the port.
Excellent. David Varn?
Yeah, hi, I'm David. I made some contributions to mathlib a bit more than a year ago, and I'm doing a PC in a multi-beat activity. But I'm curious in sort of understanding Lean4 better and getting familiar with it and helping with it.
Excellent. Scott?
Yeah, hi, I'm in Canberra, Australia. I've been involved in mathlib since, I guess, there wasn't a mathlib. I'm interested to see if we can make mathlib and Lean4 good enough that mathematicians will really use it.
Ricardo?
Hi, I'm Ricardo from Paris. I've been involved in mathlib since 2 years now, and I just think that the port is the most important thing to do now. So let's just get this done as quick as possible.
Patrick?
So hi, I'm Patrick. I've been using mathlib since the end of 2017. And I also think that we should really switch to Lean4. That mathlib is now too big for Lean3. It's no longer usable, times out all the time. We need to move to the future. And I have very little time, but I'm cheering for everybody who is doing porting work.
Excellent. Alex?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I'm Alex. I guess I've also been using mathlib for a long time, and I've also been using Lean4 without mathlib4 for almost a year. So there's my motivation. Redoing everything from scratch is hard, so.
But it's fun. Thomas?
Hi, I'm Thomas. I also live in Pennsylvania, but I'm on like the east side near Jersey. I hadn't used Lean before like a month ago. I'm a math person. I graduated not too long ago from undergrad, and my interests are kind of bending towards formalization. So I wanted to see if I could formalize some things in Lean, found out that a lot of stuff was happening and decided to join in. And now I've done sort of one thing with hopefully more to come.
Excellent. Eric? Okay. Eric's gonna skip for now. JYXU is gone.
Oh, I bet it was Junior, no? Junior.
Oh, Julian. Okay. Jeremy?
I'm Jeremy Abigad. I'm in Pittsburgh. I've been using Lean for a very long time. And now just trying to keep up with all the exciting things that everyone's doing.
Excellent. Kevin?
Hi, I'm Kevin Buzzard. Like Patrick, I'm a mathematician who's been using Lean since 2017. And like Patrick, even though I'm supervising many PhD students in Lean3, I think that Lean4 is the future and we have to work on it hard.
Yao? Yao, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Hello?
Yes.
Well, I'm Yael. I live in, I'm currently studying in Cambridge in my third year. I've been using Lean, or more precisely mathlib, since beginning of 2021. And I don't really know what I'm doing with the board. It looks like I'm mostly splitting files at this point on the mathlib4 side.
Excellent. So I'm Mario. I have been working on mathlib since basically the beginning, and also I'm sort of leading this SCD4 and mathlib4 with Scott and others at Microsoft. So we're trying to work on getting everything ported from Lean 3 into Lean 4, and I guess that's why we're all here. Okay. So is there anything that anyone wants to bring up for discussion now? There were already a couple things that were posted on the Zoop stream, but if anyone has anything they want to mention, let's just shout it out.
I would mention the fact that I look at the most important, the files which are ready to be ported, and I find that most of them I'm not actually capable of porting because it somehow involves metacode or thunks or things that I just don't understand.
Okay. I would hope that this, for the most part, is going to be like in files that don't require porting in some sense because they're like tactic files or something. Like if whenever you see something that has a significant amount of metacode, you can probably skip it entirely. If it has like a little bit of metacode in the middle of a theory file, you can just comment out the part that's the metacode. So stuff like there's an instance of has reflect on an inductive type, you can just comment that out. We're not yet sure if we even want that, and even if we do, it'll probably turn out being something significantly different. If you find like a positivity extension in the middle of your theory file, comment that out, and that's going to be handled in a separate PR. So basically, the metacode stuff is going to be handled completely separately from all of the non-metacode. And when you're porting a theory file, the purpose is just to get the theorems and stuff. Does that match the sort of stuff that you're thinking about, Kevin?
One intermediate situation is that we have some files coming up on the porting horizon that involve talking a lot about coercions, and I think that these make people nervous. For example, data.nat.cast.defs has been sitting there highlighted in bright blue on the import graphs for a week now, and no one's got around to doing it yet.
I'm literally right in the middle of that. So it'll be done today, I think.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Okay, so I guess we can talk a little bit about the coercions in Lean 4. So Lean 4 has type classes for coercions. The main ones that you would use are the COE type class, which gives you the ability to have a coercion from one type to another, which is sort of, it can be chained together. There are other, their type classes COE head and COE tail for coercions that should only be applied like at the beginning of a coercion chain or only at the end. These are used in some cases, so in Lean 3, in some cases you would use has COE, and in other cases you would use has COE T. And the difference between those is that when you have has COE T, that can't be chained with others, but if you have a has COE, it can be. So usually a has COE would get translated to a COE, and a has COE T might be turned into a COE head or a COE tail, or maybe COE HTCT, which is the one for the overall coercion. So if you're in doubt, just ask about it. Like there aren't too many of those more unusual kinds of coercions. But the other thing to consider in Lean 4 is that there's also a COE attribute. Now, the COE attribute is important for tactics like normcast, which need to know about coercion functions. So the coercions used to be there used to be a function called COE that had a type class argument that everything went in. And so there are lots of references in mathlib to this function called COE. In Lean 4, there's no longer one function called COE. Instead, the coercion unfolds to whatever it is that the type class found. So if you have like a coercion definition that maps to of nat for like integers to nats, when you write down, if you have a variable x of type nat and you write x : int, or if you write up arrow x : int, those both turn into syntactically of nat x. So that would not. So there's no actual there's no application of a function named COE there anymore.
For performance?
What was that?
Was that done for performance reasons?
What was it? I think it's a little bit better for mathlib. I think that having more ways to say something is bad, and it adds more simplemas and so on. So now, whether you use ofnat or you use up arrow, you get the same thing, and then the same.
Syntactically, the same thing.
They are syntactically the same. Yes.
Yeah. So I recently turned algebra math into coercion in Lean 3. And you're saying that somehow that work was unnecessary in the sense that in Lean 4.
If you have,
there's still a coercion type class.
There is a coercion type class.
But it was just unfold. It's just super reducible.
Yeah. You could think of it like that. It's like macro reducible or something. So one thing you should avoid is COE hypotheses in a theorem, because then can't unfold, and then you'll end up with something that doesn't apply to wherever it's supposed to apply. But that doesn't happen in mathlib very often. And then you have to mark these things as having this COE attribute when you declare a coercion. I think we're thinking about having that COE attribute automatically declare the COE instance. You need both of them for it to work right now. So other than that, I mean, that's sort of the main changes. As far as nat.cast is concerned, we still have a somewhat similar situation to what we had in Lean 3, which is that there's nat.cast, which is a coercion from nat to z. And then there's also ofnat, which is a coercion from nat to int. And an issue that you'll have is that if you write up arrow, or you do a coercion in an early file or something that doesn't import mathlib files, you'll get ofnat, and after you've imported mathlib files, you'll get nat.cast. I think we've decided that we want nat.cast to be the sort of subnormal form. So there will be versions of these theorems on both nat.cast as well as on ofnat, and the naming reflects that. And that's also like in Lean 3, there were theorems like ofnat LT and also COE nat LT. And then so here COE nat LT is going to be the one with nat.cast, and then ofnat LT is going to be the one with ofnat.
So which objects will there be an automatic coercion from the naturals to?
Nat.cast is a function which will cast from nat into any add monoid with 1. So that in particular, it's all semi-rings.
Well, I think it's an add monoid with 1. I mean, I can guess.
Define nat.cast.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Just to clarify, Kevin, add monoid with 1 has been around in mathlib 3 forever. Nothing is changing during the port. It's just an obscure type class that we built in mathlib 3.
It's a pointed add monoid.
Eric, did you get your question answered? You posted some stuff on the...
He may still not be...
Oh, right. He did. Yeah, okay.
I think I can use my mic now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so my question was, code currently unfolds itself in Lean 4. Could we make our own Lean 3.hasCode type class in Lean 4 and have all the Lean 4 codes unfold to Lean 3 hasCode, and then we can punt this problem down the road and work out what to do with it later? And the second question is, if we can do that, should we?
I am inclined to say yes to the first question and no to the second. we can probably make it work, but I think that we want to adopt the new Coe system. I think it'll be better for mathlib in the long run.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Okay.
Sorry, one more question about this. Ofnat, is that just for literals?
No. Oh, sorry. There's a function called int.ofnat. Is one of the two constructors of the int inductive type.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ofnat class.
Okay, so there's also a class called ofnat. So ofnat.ofnat, and that is the one that powers numerals. And this is another change between lin 3 and lin 4. So rather than having bit 0 and bit 1 applications that are generated by the parser, now when you write a numeral, it gets turned into ofnat. And ofnat there's a type class, big O ofnat, which supplies that function, and the ofnat function for anything with a nat.cast is going to resolve to the nat.cast. So it does not unfold eagerly. So you'll have actual ofnat terms when you use numerals, and the tooling and so on is expecting to see ofnat applications for what it would consider a numeral.
So we should have, because currently in lead 3 there's add monoid with 1, but there's actually the earlier type class which is just like has nat cast, which just says that you have this function from nat to whatever type. And so I'm just trying to make sure, should these actually be distinct? Should we have an ofnat class and separately this nat cast class?
I'm not super familiar with that, but Gabriel mentioned that the natcast has natcast class is intended for making it easier to implement add monoid with 1 without having to prove that it's a monoid first or something along those lines.
Yeah,
It's to do with the injectivity alphas.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that like we shouldn't just be using ofnat for that. I guess
I'm thinking without knowing too deeply about what's going on here that we should just be copying what mathlib4 is doing in this regard. So okay. And Eric, you're asking if the coenat R instance unfolds to ofnat.
Yeah, because you said ofnat doesn't reduce, but Coe does. And so you could just make ofnat the simple normal form.
So we don't want to do that, and the reason is because we're expecting ofnat takes in an argument which is a raw nat, and non-raw nats, when you write 2:nat, is actually an ofnat application applied to a 2:nat, where the 2 is a raw 2 now. So sort of we assume that any numeral is going to be ofnat applied to a raw nat. And so if you do ofnat applied to something that's not a raw nat, then tactics will fail and do weird things. So we're basically not we're using the presence of an ofnat to indicate that we're looking at a literal here, not a variable. Whereas nat.cast can be a variable, right? It can be any kind of expression.
So in particular, we'd like no one to be constructing ofnat.ofnat expressions except really the lean interpreting a literal that someone has typed in.
Right. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Anything else? Eric asked on Zulip about I'd be interested in hearing what our current stop mathlib3 and mathlib4 going out of sync plan is, and whether there is any CI in the works to aid with that, and if not, what would be useful.
Oh, we're supposed to be looking on Zulip as well.
No, I'm reading the question so that we can discuss it. So how to stop mathlib3 and mathlib4 going out of sync? The answer is this need mathlib SHA thing that we've been posting on all the PRs. Basically, this is important for people who are porting mathlib files, whenever you make a port PR, you want to put in the PR description the commit hash of mathlib for the version that you are translating. So if some version of mathlib gets turned into some version on mathlib4 port that you then pulled and copied and made edits to, and then produced a PR based on that, you're going to use that original mathlib commit SHA and put that in your PR description. If you notice that while maybe your PR process takes a while, and in the meantime more stuff is getting added to the mathlib file, you have two options. You can either keep going with your original old version, just make sure to put that old mathlib SHA, and we'll get to it eventually, those updates, or you can incorporate those updates in your PR, and then make sure also to update the mathlib SHA to refer to the version that includes all of the stuff that you did incorporate in your PR to mathlib4. So the idea here is we want to make sure that that SHA represents everything that will be considered as fully ported as of once your PR lands, and then this goes in.
And then you make the PR saying this file's been ported, and then the script says the following files have been modified since the commit at which they were verified.
Yeah, that's a bit of a disaster.
Yes.
Yes, Scott. Directly on Eric's question of what automation would be useful at the moment. So if you run script/port_status in the mathlib3 repository, it will do exactly what Kevin just mentioned. It will list the files which have been modified since their recorded SHA. So an easy piece of automation, it's probably just a line or two in that script, would be to actually show us the diffs. When you run the port status script, maybe controlled by a flag. That would then make it much easier for people to quickly check if the diffs are irrelevant and they can just quickly update the SHA to the new one, or work needs to be done.
Right. So one fix is I can go around changing SHAs. The SHAs are being pulled from the file that's linked to on the wiki.
Exactly. The port status.
That gigantic the port status. So there's no danger in me updating that port status file to the sort of the PR. I can fix this, right? But
yes.
Say logic.relation a file I ported.
Absolutely. Yep. You can.
Okay.
People should feel free to.
If you update the SHA on the wiki, you are also responsible for making sure that all of the stuff that happened between the old version and the new version has been ported. So if it's like,
if the only thing that's happened is somebody added 3. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. You have to check that. Sure.
Exactly.
I've got a question and a comment. So maybe the comment first is that the wiki page with the porting instruction does not mention this writing the SHA anywhere, so it should be updated in the porting procedure. And the question is, the SHA is really the mathlib one, but it's not the mathport one. I mean, the math. If we use mathport, do we know which version of mathlib it's using?
That is. Well, so it was recently updated to do so. I don't know whether yesterday's nightly has this.
It does. So it's now included in the README. So if you have the current version of mathlib3 port, then you can just look at the README and it'll tell you which commit that mathlib3 port is based on. Okay, it's probably also in the commit or in the commit message now. But the easy way to find it, or one easy way to find it, is just look in the README file in mathlib3 port.
Okay, so we agree this is the relevant SHA. The relevant SHA is not the current mathlib.
No. Sorry, Patrick.
It's not current mathlib.
Yeah. So the SHA is referring to the mathlib3 repository, but you find which SHA you're meant to be using by reading the README file in mathlib3 port.
Does it matter that for the files I ported, I just looked at the last commit that changed the file and said it was that? So in some stages, sometimes it was months ago.
That should be fine too.
Yeah, I mean, if it was months ago, then great. If it was 2 days ago, then you should maybe double check.
It's probably also fine if we end up with an accidental math port SHA in there, because we can always say, well, this SHA doesn't match anything, we'll look it up in mathlib instead and clean up. Do we know what the wiki does if 2 people edit it at the same time? Like, does it intelligently merge? Will it discard someone's changes?
It will probably. I have had so.
We should be using Google Docs. You see, that'd be fine. We just don't happen at once.
Or we could do what I think Yakov suggested and have a Git repo with a file for every file, and then if people edit different shards for different files, there's no conflict. We still want a summary somewhere, but if we had a file that kind of recorded the state of every file separately, then there's no way for someone updating one file to somehow corrupt someone else's changes on another.
So I've had error messages when editing the wiki. I've had it pop up saying this file has been edited in the meantime, and I don't remember whether it did something automatic for me, but it did warn me that something was going on. So I'm inclined to not worry about this issue until we run into it.
And I don't see the SHA in the mathport readme. Are you sure it's there?
And
yeah, right at the top.
Not in mathport, in mathlib4 port. So
I posted a link to mathlib4 port, and very first thing
there
on
are
the
too many repositories with similar names, sorry, but okay, in mathlib4 port I do see it.
Yeah.
This is where you actually find the
yeah, sure.
file.
Good.
So I'm totally new, of course, but I know there was talk about freezing last time. Would it be worth trying to sort of slowly freeze file by file in mathlib3? So like someone ports some file with a specific SHA, you check if there's any diff between the mathlib3 version at that SHA and the current one. If there isn't, then you like add a line to the mathlib3 version saying, don't add anything to this file, and it's frozen.
So we're essentially doing that. I mean, we're adding we're adding a little message in the module doc of the mathlib3 file saying this file has been synchronized with mathlib4. It was done in the following PR number, and then says if you need to change this file further, it's your responsibility to make sure you make a matching commit to mathlib4 to keep them in sync. So it's not a hard freeze in any sense for those early files, but I think our intention is that it's sufficiently discouraging that it will happen less. Further, we're hoping that as everyone moves across to porting to mathlib4, this will stop happening because mathlib3 is going to wither and die on the vine.
So there is a danger with this strategy of race conditions where you can have someone who has a PR editing a file and they never even see this comment because it never even enters the file they're looking at and it only actually appears in there when Git merges it.
And so that's why the SHAs are so important.
That's why the SHAs are so important. The SHAs let us clean everything up in the end, but ideally we'd have some CI to stop the mess being created in the first place. So that might just take the form of if a PR is made that touches a file that we see has been math ported, it sticks some aggressive comment on there asking for maintainer approval or something. Or flagging people.
So that is something that we could use some CI support for. So it would be nice to have a bot that tells you when you are touching a synchronized file, and maybe notifies the relevant people in some sense. Yeah, that's.
I mean, a less fancy version of that is we could also edit the pull request template of mathlib, which is currently empty, I think, and except for this open in GitHub stuff. And I mean, we could have a message also that is displayed when someone opens a pull request in mathlib.
Wait, you want a message when someone opens?
Just something
template.
Just something that makes you tick a box to verify that you have checked for these warnings.
Yeah.
I see. In mathlib4, you mean?
No, in mathlib3.
In mathlib3.
We used to have like a bunch of those boxes to tick, right?
I just posted on the chat the link to the pull request template that we're currently using. So it has the stuff about dependent PRs and Gitpod, but there should be there could be, maybe it's already too much text and nobody reads it, but we could have something visible there.
I think we already have too much text that people don't read. A lot of people put the description below the PR description, below the line on the delete all the Gitpod stuff and just don't read any of it. So I think the more we put in there, the less they'll read any of the stuff that sometimes is read.
Yeah. Well, then we could remove the stuff that's there.
I think CI adding a label saying this touches a frozen file is the right way to go. It takes it out of the hands of humans.
Yeah. Are we banning moving files that are frozen? And if not, what's our procedure for dealing with moving a file?
I feel like we've already done a significant amount of that. I mean, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong, Scott, but I'm pretty sure that several of the refactors that we've been doing on mathlib4 have been touching files that are already reported. Which, I mean, is kind of okay because we're sort of...
I've been trying to... Oh, yeah. I guess I haven't been trying too hard to check that. Okay, I possibly have, yeah.
I'm just thinking, what do we do with the YAML file when it has a git shell for a file that no longer exists because it's been moved somewhere else?
I mean, surely the move will count as a modification.
Well, that's true. So we can still warn the user, but then we start to lose track of whether the new... I guess you just trace back to the history to work out if the file's still there.
Does the port status wiki file contains a list of every file, right?
Yeah.
And like yeses and nos. What happens with all the files that don't exist?
Yeah. So if there's a mode you can run the port status script on the command line that will re-output that YAML file, adding all the new files that it hasn't that weren't there in the input that you gave it. To my knowledge, no one has been doing that. So at the moment, it's going to be missing a bunch of newly added files. But in principle, at least, there's a mechanism to update it. There's no mechanism, as far as I can tell, to automatically remove files that have been deleted from mathlib4.
But I think the new files appear in the script, the port status script. And then you can add them, you can import it and add the new files by hand in the wiki. I did that already.
Do we want CI that updates the wiki automatically based on mathlib files?
Feels lower priority, but yes.
Might be asking for merge conflicts, I suppose.
Yeah.
Is there a reason to distinguish no files from absent files in the, like, can we just have them mean no?
I mean, the script, the port status script that processes the wiki essentially does that. I mean, it when it draws the graphs and so on, it doesn't ignore the files that aren't in the wiki. It just treats them all as no's.
Mm-hmm. Do we want to have it for, like, making people feel like there's progress towards something?
Have what? Sorry.
Having all these no files in the list, or to make it easier to edit them to yeses, or like why not just have just remove all the no's?
Oh. I feel like it's easier to edit and put things in the right place. I always just use Control F to find the line I'm meant to be editing when I update it. So it's nice to have the existing line there.
I guess if we're really going CI crazy, we could have a bot that edits it for you when the PR is merged.
Then me and Poppy are going to come back here.
Yeah, so bots that make edits to the wiki when PRs are merged does feel like something.
Or I can drive you guys to drama.
About, because that feels like sort of the weakest part of our current process is like when a PR gets merged, you know, we need to make sure that this stuff gets updated and that the corresponding mathlib4 side is handled with the synchronized, and that's the part that I'm a little bit fuzzy on, and hopefully the people who are looking into that are feeling better about it.
And ideally not just when it's merged. You want to know people are working on porting a file so you don't start refactoring in Lean3.
That's true. That part, I think I'm okay with saying that's user edit to the wiki to say that we are working on this, because there isn't going to be any evidence of that other than someone saying, "Oh yeah, I'm working on it."
Yeah, okay, that's a good point.
It's also a lot easier to think about editing the wiki file when you start working on something than when it suddenly merged 1 week after you last for the project.
Yeah, I think for now, maybe people, like until we have that automation, people who are actually hitting merge, since CI is pretty quick anyway, maybe they could just update the file if possible.
Yeah.
That way it happens like right away. Obviously, once CI starts taking longer, that's, less applicable. If you have to wait, if you have to think an hour later to remember to do that, it can be hard. But right now it's only like 5 minutes.
I've been basically doing that. Basically, at the moment that I hit Bors merge or Bors delegate over on mathlib4, I go and edit the wiki file. But I'm not 100% reliable, but I try and do that.
Patrick, you posted some suggestions for like doing live coding or something. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean that was one suggestion. I mean, if we have other things to discuss, then that's fine. And especially since I'm not currently porting files, but from conversations that I see on quickly on Zulip, I think that would be useful. What I suggested.
Regarding the naming convention questions, I took a look at the wiki and edited the text a little bit, and it's pretty much complete already, at least as far as how much it's been thought out. There are probably more edge cases to be discovered, but I think that what's there, at least as a diff from Lean 3, if we're trying to name things from scratch, you probably want to make use of the Lean 3 naming conventions file as well. But as far as like, okay, I know the Lean 3 naming convention, but what's a Lean 4 naming convention? Then that text is fine. Did you have particular questions about how the naming convention works, or?
But I see many people asking questions in the mathlib4 stream. This is.
But I think that gradually, as more of us learn, I think I kind of know the naming convention now, and so as more people learn it, they'll just kind of tell other people. But is that not satisfactory?
Kevin, it's much more efficient if you write it in the wiki than if you answer every question about it. I know this is Marius just being all around the clock on Zulip answering the same question over and over. But I'm sure we can do better.
But it is on the wiki. Is there something about it that's not clear?
I think we're going to basically get there on the naming convention now. It is in the wiki, and people will get it. We'll continue to get some questions, but I think we're over the hump on explaining the naming convention. Well, one possibility is that I perhaps should make or someone else should make a new porting tutorial now that we're a little bit further along. I know the first video I made didn't even mention hash align, for example. Do you think that's a valuable thing to do at this point, or does everyone already know? Are there more people who would consume that video?
If the bot thing stabilizes and the SHA thing writing, and it would be good. Maybe if continuous integration is changing too much, then you should wait a couple more days to do that.
Regarding the SHA question, you should tell people that the SHA should be the last SHA should be the one with the 3 lines added, right? If the last SHA should be the one with the this file is frozen.
Well, there's a circular dependency there, right? Because you won't have that until after your own PR merges, and
the SHA should only ever be the one that you actually know you copied on your machine to edit.
But the SHA is just this random thing in this port status file, right? So it can be changed.
Yeah. So
it's also authoritative, right?
So it's more important that it reflects the truth than that it's current.
Right.
And the truth is the version that you started with, not the version that ended up with the comment in it.
Kevin is just pointing out that after you make the PR that adds the synchronized label back in mathlib4, someone still needs to go and update that SHA again. So there's inevitably 2 times that the SHA needs to be updated in the port status file using the current process.
But not until they've checked that it hasn't changed in between.
Sure.
Right.
Which seems like a job for CI to check that nothing actually changed. Or at least
It would be good if we could, on the synchronized, so on the mathlib PR that puts the synchronized on the thing, it would be nice if we could give a bot an instruction saying, this has been vetted. When this PR lands, put the CI, or put the SHA for this thing into the port wiki file.
That doesn't quite work, because you technically can have boards doing a batch with that synchronization label and edits to the file. I mean, it's probably not super likely, but it's possible.
I think let's hope for the best on things at that level of time granularity. I think it's impossible to make a perfect system here.
Sure.
One thing that maybe is
we should eliminate the manual adding of these notices and just do it all, treat it like the no-lint spot, and just have the bot update everything for people who are looking at the comments, but don't use it as a source of truth. Only use the wiki as a source of truth.
Yeah. One thing to mention, since Yakov isn't here, is that he has a proposal to completely reformat that port status page, basically to give it a little bit more structured YAML rather than just a list of words after the colon. And that will presumably happen soon because things are getting too grungy as is. But it's going to mean there's going to be a bit of a breakage while all of the CI has to adapt to a new format.
So while the CI isn't broken, when I run the port status program, it gives me right now about 20 files that nobody has claimed and that look like they should be the next things that people who are looking for jobs could do. But I've just gone through them and there's some things I don't understand. So is it worth, now we're all here, is it worth experts telling me, for example, is there a bug? Like it says lean_core.data.vector. What does that even mean? That's not a thing.
Can you screen share?
No, because unless if I join twice, you give me. I mean, I could just run the ports. I'll just run port status on this. Was it scripts? If you run it in the scripts directory, it doesn't work, by the way.
Well, I'm just wondering if you can pull up these files that you're talking about, and we can look at them together.
What do I do with that, Patrick? Like, this is a brand new machine.
You can pip install networks.
Pip install network X. Sudo? Do I need to sudo? No.
It depends on your Python.
Yeah, I didn't. So I will. How do you share screen? Toggle screen share. Oh, this is ridiculous. Well, why am I sharing screen? Can't I just read these? Oh, I see. So what I should do is I should look at the list here that I've been hacking. Right. So it says lean_core.data.vector. It says a file that isn't a file, right? Bug report.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a file from core lean. So lean_core.data.vector is a file.
So is that being ported?
There are probably this is one of the very few files in lean core that is not in it, so not automatically imported every time you have any lean for it.
I see one of those. How do you screen share in Jitsi? I'm clicking toggle screen share.
I couldn't get it to work either.
But I do have a bunch of files open in.
to paste the output of this script to some place on the internet, I can do it.
I mean, I can just tell you the files I've got questions about.
Okay. Yeah, I can open. I can screen share.
Okay, algebra quotient.
You're seeing my.
I'm seeing your Firefox.
Okay. And you say algebra quotient.
I just posted in the chat the current output of port status for anyone who wants to follow along.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just went through and looked at all the files that nobody had claimed, and some of them look easy. I'll type in the ones that I think are sort of easy for everyone, as it were. But algebra, yeah, there's about 6 files that I've got questions about.
Okay.
And algebra quotient. Is that happening?
Okay, so I'm looking now at the mathlib4 port version of algebra quotient, and I mean, yeah, this all looks very.
So we want to has quotient class.
Yeah.
Okay. Data.type. Oh no, data.lazy list. That's got thunks in. Thunks still a thing?
Thunks are a thing. There's a question. So there, you may want either thunk or fun, like unit arrow alpha, depending on how things are used. I think. I mean, the translation here is using thunk prime, which I think exists. So there is the reason for this thunk prime here is because it was actually there's a hash line somewhere that's.
Mario, is there any reason why you're looking at this on GitHub instead of just opening Lean?
As in you want me to have a. I mean, it doesn't make that much difference, right? Because Lean doesn't work on these files.
I mean, I was looking at the Lean3 files. If I could share my screen, I could just show you the Lean3 files.
I mean, I can open the mathlib version. It doesn't make a huge difference.
Okay, so thunks is still a thing. So data.typevector uses fin2. Are we doing fin2 like?
I think we're doing everything, Kevin.
Okay. So I mean, fin2 was only there because fin wasn't satisfactory or something.
Yeah, but
if you want to get rid of it, you should get rid of it in Lean3.
Yeah, it's too complicated to change things as we port.
I see. Okay.
We're not planning to make refactors on every file.
So data.arbitree.default_LT.
Okay, so data.arbitree has been the source of a discussion on mathlib4. Someone's been working on data.arbitree, and basically what we want to do here is align it to. So there's a new RB map data structure in STD, and all of these are going to be aligned to that, and then the remaining theorems will probably be ported. For now, they're just gonna be either SAR8 or something, but basically this whole directory is going to be gone, or almost roughly gone.
Algebra/hierarchy design is just all comments.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's easy to port.
Great.
You want the grid.
Although maybe the hierarchy design is different. I'm not sure.
It's just 2 massive library nodes. Do we still have library nodes?
We do.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Does mathlib change doc strings to adjust for naming changes?
No.
No.
You have to manually change that.
And the last one is data.json, which is all metacode.
That one's probably not going to be.
I think that one mostly exists in Lean4.
Yeah,
I wrote that without knowing what Lean4 could do, and then realized that a bunch of this. So I should probably just manually port this in the distant future because it has some features that Lean4 doesn't, but we don't really need them.
So does it bother people that these are somehow clogging up the list of files that can, in theory, be ported.
Well,
yet somehow.
So the data.json, someone should just write no on the no doesn't need to happen on the wiki, and then it'll be highlighted in red on the graphs, and no one will ever touch it again.
Nice idea.
Or just mark priority, which I think was what Mario was about to say.
Well, so yeah, I was going to ask what is the current plan for marking files that are ported by not porting them, right?
I propose we
tactic files. Yeah, I'm asking you.
Let's write yes on the on the port status wiki, so they go a nice green color on the graphs.
These are things we don't want at all, or things that we don't want to think about till a long way down the course?
Which their porting is not like they were ported in such a completely different way that maybe the file doesn't exist anymore, or something like this. Like most tactic files, for instance.
So, conversely, I found a bunch of files that I looked at and thought that would be a nice, easy job. Can I somehow mark those as very doable?
That would be nice. That would be useful information.
Put things on there on the port status page. So what do I put? Just like, beginner.
Yeah.
Is there anything
What's
you can
good
put
first port?
So anything that you
that'll make it show up in red, right?
Anything that
This is where Yakov's changes come in.
Yeah.
So we can start to add this extra data.
Yeah, at the moment there's not a good way to do it.
Yeah, but
triage for these files is definitely useful though. I think
because as I say, I just looked through all 20, and some of them I'm thinking, that should be good. That'd be easy. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the machine actually got it right. Yeah, mostly right already.
Yeah, I did triage for all the tactics a while ago, and it's been super helpful.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Kevin, also in terms of like cluttering up this list, I think that will be less of a problem as soon as we get some of these bottleneck files through that open up the list to having, 100 or more files in it that can be ported right away.
To what extent would it be useful for tracking and triaging by just creating a GitHub issue for every single file with a bot, and then having people assign it to themselves or stick whatever labels they like on it?
Too many
Kevin
issues.
could write a comment, this is easy because X, Y, Z.
How would people find things? It's
You can just search. If the issue starts with the file name, it should be easy enough to find. It wouldn't necessarily be the index, but it would be the way of asking, is this thing done? Have people thought about this?
I mean, at the moment, it feels like it would just be one more thing that we have to deal with. Like, we already have to, handle mathlib3 PRs, mathlib4 PRs, and, the wiki, and making sure that everything's aligning to each other. Now, it's also got to find the issue, close it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Let's try and get Yakov's YAML update done as soon as possible. Then people will be able to add things to the port status wiki that are purely a comment without highlighting things in orange. And that'll, I think, get us most of the way.
So, Scott, does it require any action from me? Or is it? I'm a bit lost with the pull request to mathlib tools and what is ready to merge and what is still by chat about.
I'm not sure. I haven't been following Yakov's proposal, so I guess I will talk to him. Oh, well, yeah, we can. When we next get a chance to talk to Yakov, we'll just do what he tells us to do about updating that. So, Yael, if you want to say that you're going to work on a particular file, you can just edit the port status wiki. After no, we'll just change the word no to no : work in progress by your name. WIP.
Where is the port status wiki? Is it on mathlib4?
No, the port status wiki is a wiki page on mathlib3. You can type.
Okay, so it's on mathlib3.
You can type #port -status in Zulip. We'll always give you a link to it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I found it. I was just looking on mathlib4.
The current setup is a bit weird. That any comment after no that contains WIP or PR results in that node being highlighted in blue on the import graphs. Any comment starting with no that doesn't include WIP or PR means it gets highlighted in orange. That's stupid, we'll change it soon, but it's the current setup.
We should probably add another one for the triage markers.
Yep.
So that... No, I guess they just count as nothing. Or I don't know. Actually, maybe they could be colored in different shades.
Different shades of blue. We can have
yeah. Okay. Okay. Any last thoughts?
Oh, quick like porting question. Do we care about linting? Because I get a ton of lint errors from like lines longer than 100
yes,
characters.
We care. Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Make the linter happy. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what should be like, so most of them are like, or a couple of them, not most of them, but a couple of them are like comments that are multi-line comments. What's like the column width that I should force the word wrapping?
100.
100. Okay.
Yes.
Isn't there already a setting within when you edit linting4 files that puts like the columns on it?
Yeah, it should be on mathlib4 as well.
Well, when I look at it in VS Code, it just like wraps it around automatically on the same line.
Oh, but that's like a VS Code setting.
You've changed your settings in some weird way then. If you go back to the default settings that the extension sets up for lean files, it won't.
Yeah, I think just click Alt Z and it should go from wrapping to non-wrapping. Yeah.
Is this something as simple as we haven't copied the default VS Code settings from Lean 3 to Lean 4? Because I think we ship the settings as part of the Lean 3 repo.
I thought that those settings were on the mathlib4 repo as well. But maybe... Oh yeah, no, I see them. Maybe I've got an edited setting, but I can see that we've got rulers at 100.
I do think I might have changed my VS Code at some point. I don't think it's a necessarily an extension problem.
Presumably mathlib4 has the style linter, but not the metacode linter.
Metacode linter. What's this one?
Like the thing in tactic linter, presumably is not ported to Lean 4, but the Python script that just reads the line lengths.
No. We have all the linters that run in Lean. Yep.
Yeah. The linter in Lean 4 is actually quite a bit more sophisticated. I'm super happy to have landed the. There's a linter which will tell you if there are tactics that are not executed, which is
excellent.
That's neat. Yeah.
So last thing on CI actually that we need to address soon. Someone pointed out yesterday that build times are already growing to the point of being annoying, and we need to have downloadable O-lanes. Is that...
This is pretty worrying. I mean, what happened to the idea that Lean4 would be faster than Lean3? Because I mean, for Lean3, we started having O-Lean archive much later. The file we are importing,
I think
nobody was complaining about compiling mathlib when we had only like 50 files.
I think it's possible that people's expectations have changed.
Patrick, we're never going to get like a 10 times speed up here, okay? Don't don't get your hopes up for something dramatic like that. Like a factor of 2, I think everyone would be pretty happy with.
Well, I mean, really, like, in all honesty, I can compile it on my laptop, which only has 4 cores, in, like, 5 or 6 minutes. It's not a terribly long time right now. It's just when you're working between one PR and a different PR, and you need to compile and wait 5 minutes every time, that's when it gets a little bit annoying, when you're trying to get a lot of stuff done.
Especially given that we're updating the Lean 4 version underneath. Pretty often, I'm regularly switching between branches that have entirely different versions and need to recompile from the bottom up. Like all through standard as well. I mean, Patrick, also on the speed issue, I mean, I think that now that we've got a non-trivial chunk of mathlib ported, Leo and co are going to be thinking about that, and we're going to be start telling them, hey, like this file is surprisingly slower, and they're going to care a whole lot. But we're only just at the point where they can even start looking at the reasons why things are slow.
There is also a thread that we have yet to fully pull, which is the lake upload feature. Lake allows you to upload your build artifacts or oleans or something like this to a release on GitHub, and then it will be transparently downloaded by people who do lake build in downstream projects, which sounds really cool. I still need to figure out what exactly is going on there and whether it does what we want. There's a big open question about like cross-platform oleans, stuff like this. So there's still a bunch of unresolved questions, but hopefully that will help with this. I'm not sure if it will satisfy all of the requirements of like what Lean Project Get Cache does right now. I don't know if it does. I mean, yeah, we certainly aren't going to get like every commit being storing data, and we might still need to have some custom mathlib implementation for the equivalent of Lean Project Get Cache. But the people who are into CI, maybe that would be a good thing to look into as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would like us to be thinking, even at this very early stage, about plans to do even more fine-grained Olean sharing. I mean, I would prefer it if, when my computer has built everything, CI doesn't need to rebuild because it trusts the compiled artifacts that my computer has uploaded to CI, for example. Where
that is, I mean, so this is apparently, and I'm not an expert in Nix at all.
Yeah.
But I'm told that this is part of the value proposition. Is that like anyone compiling anywhere, this thing can upload to some store and then it gets downloaded for everything, and like that sounds super cool.
Don't you need to trust the people who did that? I mean, we don't want anyone to be able to upload oleans to our
don't ask me. I mean, I assume. I mean, yeah, there are hashing things you can do to check the inputs and outputs. But yes, I mean, it's true that like maybe if we restrict it to like CI machines have to do all the building or something like that, then you can still get something roughly equivalent. Like the CI machines do the building and then you just do the downloading.
Okay, but but it seems like the choices here are we go wholeheartedly into Nix. We roll our own sort of file-by-file build sharing solution, or we do nothing. Are those the three possibilities? Like, is saying everyone who wants to use mathlib4 should be using Nix a starting proposition? Also, no, it's not a starting proposition.
The other issue with Nix is that it's incompatible with Lake, which is not great.
Oh dear.
Okay. Yes. So I'm guessing that we're gonna need to roll our own.
Okay.
And also it doesn't work on Windows. Those two things together. I'm like, okay, well.
Okay. No more Nix.
I mean, as a random data point, where 2 years ago Sebastian Ulrich was so enthusiastic about Nix that for 1 year I thought I couldn't be using Lean4 without using Nix, and it was completely forced, but I just postponed my me starting to use Lean4 for 1 year at least. So maybe we shouldn't scare people away with Nix.
Good. Okay, so is rolling our own sort of file level build artifact sharing at all viable, or is that just too much engineering work for us to even think about?
Well, okay, so how would it differ from Lean Project? Like, I mean, Lean Project seems like it's kind of doing what we want.
It's not.
Is it not at file level? Or
it's
not
at
file level.
Mario, it's not at file level. It's the whole thing at once.
So right now it walks the Git history to find the most reasonable archive that contains everything, but it doesn't attempt to do any mix and matching because it doesn't have the dependency graph information it needs to do that. And it still has to download the entire zip for every commit it finds before it could do any walking.
I see.
I mean, the sort of thing I had in mind is that for each file that you're going to compile, you compute a SHA that depends on that file the contents of that file and the shars of all of the imported files and the shar of your current lean version or whatever. And then every time you sit down and say Lake build, it computes all those for every file in the directory it's planning on building. It then goes to some central server with a big list of shars and says, hey, do you have any of these? The server then replies with build artifacts for whichever subset it has available. And then Lake uses those and does the rest. And then after it's done the rest, it pushes everything back up to the server if it's allowed to, so that other people can get those.
I'd just say even better would be to take the lean environment char. So who cares if someone changed a white space line? I mean, lean knows, right, what the char of all the declarations at the end of some file is.
But the lean environment includes things like line number information, which is affected by white space.
So that thing will change, okay.
So it doesn't help that much. But yeah, I think the core of Scott's suggestion is that it's now content indexed hash oleans rather than file name indexed. And so you just say, oh, I want the one with this hash, and it gives it to you rather than saying, oh, I want the one from this commit. And then you get the hash and you say, no, that's not the right hash anymore.
So am I right in saying that we now get like cache for every file independently rather than cache for a version of mathlib?
Yeah,
I don't know how expensive it would be, like whether there's some additional gains that are had by zipping everything together rather than zipping them one file at a time.
I think downloading 2,000 files separately is going to be really bad. And I think building a clever server that zips it us for us is going to increase our CI costs.
Yeah. Like you to do it efficiently, you'd have to do a single request for all of your shars, and the server be able to respond with what it's got. It's getting pretty complicated.
What do you mean by CI costs? You mean money?
Yeah, money, effort. You need someone to actually write a web server that does what you need it to do, rather than just blindly serve files up.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if you just meant money, there's plenty of people with money. I'm kind of sitting on thousands of, not money that I can't have for myself, but I could spend on stuff like this if necessary.
Okay, so I get the feeling that mostly that's in the too hard basket. Or not for now. Okay.
Thomas post. Yeah. I think we'll set that one aside.
If we're wrapping up in a second, I've just been writing notes on things that we want to get done soon. I'll post those on Zulip. If people want to claim that they're going to do them, maybe I'll post separate items on separate messages and people can put emojis to express their desire to do particular things.
Thanks.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming, and I'll see you all next week.
Thanks.